Good morning. Mm-hmm. Pretty good. Pretty good. And good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. I am all for a lively church experience as we come back together in person, still online, but more and more filling our space. It is lovely to see you all here today in the sanctuary, out there in Zoom land. Welcome, welcome. I am the Reverend Dana Warsnop, minister of this congregation, and I welcome you all. It is lovely to be here with you. Our theme for worship this month is awakening. And it's a good theme for a month when faithful people around the world are celebrating holidays and holy days. Today is Palm Sunday in the Christian calendar, and Rama Navami, the Hindu celebration of the birth of Rama. Also, Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan in Islam, begins on Tuesday. The Passover in the Jewish faith begins on Friday. Easter is next Sunday, and then Earth Day is the following Friday. We celebrate all of those in spirit, and Earth Day may be that one which just emerges and rises up out of us most fully as Unitarian Universalists. So I welcome all here, whether you have been coming here for 30 years or 3, 10 whole months, or 10 minutes for the most recent all here. What? Okay. I just thought somebody was saying something to me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It has become our practice to regularly remember that the land that we live upon has belonged to other peoples. And let us remember the depth of human attachment to the lands that gave them birth, acknowledging that the lands of this nation are also the ancestral home of indigenous peoples. And in Ventura County, through most of it, this is the Chumash people. A single announcement today. Our children and youth have been cooperatively working at building robots in religious education for the last few Sundays, and they are completing them and having robot races after church. So after church, they'll be out in back, and so we may catch some robot races. Go on and see what fun has been being had. Let us arrive now fully together in this space, in person, in your online spaces. For this is a wholly new and unique event. We will never again be together in this particular configuration. I love thinking about this. Imagine that even if exactly the same people arrived at exactly the same time. Well, you wouldn't, would you? So it wouldn't be the exact same time, and then you probably wouldn't be in the exact same seat. So even if it was the exact same people, then it would still be different. And each time we create a new community, and then we add the people zooming in from various places, this is a unique event. We will never be together quite like this again. And together on this day, may we be changed, and may we change the world as we enter sacred space.
Good morning. I am Zena Kingshill, Worship Associate. Did you hear that? Yes. We invite those who are Zooming or streaming into this service to light a chalice or candle at home, as Reverend Dana lights the chalice of our free faith here in the sanctuary. We begin our service this morning with these words from poet Linda Paston, entitled, "Why Not?" You tell me to live each day as if it were my last. But why the last, I ask? Why not live each day as if it were the first? All raw astonishment, Eve rubbing her eyes awake the very first morning. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning and welcome everyone here in the sanctuary and online. I'm Carolyn Bierke, the music director, and I'd like to invite you to join me in singing our opening hymn, Morning Has Come. Please rise in body or spirit. Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. A light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. A new day dawns, once more the gift is given. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Open our eyes to see that life abounds. Open hearts to welcome it among us. The light of love here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home.
Good morning, everyone. Hi. My name's Fidelity Balmer. I'm the Director of Religious Education. I attended the memorial service for Joseph Hutchins yesterday, and I was reminded of how easy it is to forget how much we deeply impact others. Hearing the stories from the memorial of how many lives had been touched by him, how many stories from childhood, little bunny foo-foo, and onward. It really made an impact on me to think about how connected we are to everyone else and how we can make an impact without truly realizing it. So today's story reminds us of that truth, that everything is connected, that we so often forget. So please enjoy Everything is Connected by Jason Gruhl, illustrated by Ignacy Font. Everything is connected. And since you are part of everything, you are connected to everything. You are connected to a human body, to hands and eyeballs, teeth and toes, elbows, a butt, and even a nose. To a heart and some lungs and a strange-looking stomach, and a brain that's so smart there's no peak it can't summit. But you're not just a body, you're bigger than that. You're connected to people, to everybody, to moms and to dads, to sisters and brothers, uncles and cousins, grandfathers, grandmothers. You're connected to friends and to teachers at school, and even to people you don't think are cool. You're connected to people in Denver and Maine, in Paris and Baghdad, to strangers in Spain. You're connected to every human on earth, wow, and they are connected to you. You are also connected to hedgehogs, and cats and dogs and squirrels and birds, rabbits and cows and deer by the herds, monkeys, tarantulas, dolphins, and snakes. Friend, you are connected to every big, small, hairy, slimy, snuggly, scaly, floppy, flappy, bristly, beautiful creature on earth, even blobfish, a real creature. Blobfish, you say, and I know you're thinking it. Surely not that. They don't look like me, talk like me, or act like me, and they probably stink. But you see, we're connected. We all play a part. In life, we're the same. We're all blobfish at heart. Now, this next part, though bonkers, is true, I'm afraid. You're connected to everything humans have made, to toys and to playgrounds, books and to chairs, gardens and medicine, language and prayers. Buildings and bicycles, buses, balloons, hammers and paintbrushes, tractors and spoons. But also to chicken pox, bullies and lies, to greed and pollution and trash piled high. You're not just connected to things that you like, things that are comfortable, easy, or nice. As a human, you're part of the everythingness, and sometimes it's scary and a big, ugly mess. But the good news, my dear, is that you are quite powerful, a force that's in everything, timeless and powerful. You're connected to things you can't see, the invisible world for at least you and me. To cells, DNA, diseases, and death, amoebas and gravity, atoms and breath. To hydrogen, nitrogen, nanobots too. You're connected to them. They're connected to you. You're connected to happy, connected to sad, to the past and the future, to thoughts you have had, to pharaohs, Ben Franklin, T-Rex, ancient Greece, to love and to poverty, hunger and peace, to Jesus and Buddha, Muhammad and Moses, to spaceships and aliens with noses like hoses. You're connected to all that will be or has been. You're this very moment where all things begin. For you are the sun and the moon and the stars, Jesus and Jupiter, Neptune and Mars, comets and galaxies, voids and black holes. You are the universe, perfect and whole. I love this story, and at the end, the author has an author's note that makes the whole difference. He says, "You'll notice this book doesn't tell you the how of how things are connected, just a list of things that are," right? And in a very you statement, he says, "I believe it is up to each reader to figure the how out by himself or herself, and even to question it." While we may not always want to be connected to everything, there is a deep reassurance in realizing that we are. There's a little bit of you in everything. And because of that, you are never, never alone. So get on out there and see for yourself. There's a blobfish somewhere that will thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Get on out there to get those robots going. I'm getting an echo. We're practicing with new microphones, and we're getting that thing. Is it coming from this mic? Okay, they're working on it back there. I'm just going to set this aside. Okay. Things just keep changing and unfolding, don't they? Each Sunday, this congregation has a practice of giving away our collection to an organization in the larger community or to funds that can also help people in our own church. And do. Those at home have two ways to give. There will be a link posted in the chat, or you can text. You can text from your phone to the number that is about to be up on the screen, 844-901-1779. And you here in person have two ways to give. You too can text to give. We encourage you to do that. Or if you wish, you can write a check or leave a donation in the basket at the back of the congregation, at the back of the sanctuary after the service. Our offering today goes to Ventura Homeless Prevention to pay rent for Ventura residents who need help with rent in order to avoid eviction due to a temporary financial setback. More than half the renters in Ventura pay more than the recommended 1/3 of their income for rent. More than 1/2 of us do. And far too many can encounter difficulties that will quickly eat up their savings, leaving them on the brink, too often, of becoming homeless. Recently, Ventura Homeless Prevention helped a woman who was unable to work after a number of small strokes, and disability only provided half of her pay, and that didn't cover the rent for her and her husband. Ventura Homeless Prevention was able to fill in the gap with donations like yours until her husband could increase his own work hours. Another couple with 4 children needed help when their truck went kaput. Didn't just break down, it just didn't work anymore. So they needed a new truck, and that meant they could get to their jobs, but that the new truck also took that month's rent money. So Ventura Homeless Prevention again covered this critical gap. Then in just this year, the Ventura Homeless Prevention has kept 66 people, 24 of them children, from becoming homeless. We are so grateful. The group is so grateful for donations like the one we are taking today that enable them to help. Thank you so much for giving generously, as you always do. We are grateful for the generosity of this congregation, which weaves a tapestry of love which is one of the ways that we are all connected, ultimately, to one another and to all that is. Somewhere, there is a family who is grateful to you and feels connected to you in this tapestry of love we call community. And if you carry it all the way out, somewhere there's even a blobfish who is grateful to us all and for all that is.
Part of staying connected within our community is sharing with one another the great joys and sorrows that grace our lives. We place stones in water for both the celebrations and sorrows in our hearts. The ripples that go out represent the way that something that touches the heart of one of us travels throughout the community to touch all of us. I invite you now to speak into the gathered community or write into the Zoom chat the names of those you wish to celebrate or memorialize, or those in need of the loving embrace of this beloved community. Please feel free to continue to add to the chat, even after the silent pause has ended. Reverend Dana will now place one final stone in the water for all the joys and sorrows yet unspoken in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. May we be truly grateful for all that is our life.
Please remain seated as we sing Just as Long as I Have Breath. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, all I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Our reading this morning is from Emergent Strategy, Shaping Change, Changing Worlds by Adrienne Marie Brown. The world is full of beauty, magic, miracles, and patterns that induce wonder. I'm always saying, wow, everything is so amazing. Or, that's not wow. Why not go with the wow option? Emergence is one of the best concepts I have learned for discussing this wow, this wonder. The best definition of emergence is the way complex systems and patterns arise out of a multiplicity of relatively simple interactions. It's another way of speaking about the connective tissue of all that exists. The way, the Tao, the force, change, God, goddess, life, birds flocking, cells splitting, fungi whispering underground. Emergence emphasizes critical connections over critical mass, building authentic relationships, listening with all the senses of the body and the mind.
I invite you now into a time of stillness, meditation. Breathe. See if you can sense your connection to all that is. What is emerging from your soul? What are we creating? Sense yourself as part of an endless web of all. A silent meditation.
Hello, you family. I'm going to sing a song with you called Shine on Me. It's an amazing spiritual that anybody can sing. And in these days when the things that we're dealing with, the feeling separate and all of that, and things seem so hard, this is one of those songs that you just throw your head back, put it in your medicine kit. All you have to do is ask. And here's how it goes. Shine on me, oh shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me, oh shine on me, yes shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Lift me up, oh, lift me up. Let the light from the lighthouse lift me up, oh, lift me up, yes, lift me up. Let the light from the lighthouse lift me up, oh, hold me close, yes, hold me close. Let the light from the lighthouse hold me close, yes, hold me close, oh, hold me close. Let the light from the lighthouse, please, hold me close. Oh, shine on me, yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me, oh, shine on me, yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. All you have to do is just ask. The light is always there. Always. Always. Hallelujah.
How are you doing? How are you doing? Lately, it seems like we are asking each other this question with a little more depth of meaning than usual. Not so much a friendly "how you doing," which is some people's way of saying hello. More of a real curiosity and concern. How are you doing? It's been a long haul, hasn't it? How are you doing? How are we doing? It's been 2 long years of one thing after another. There's the list, the whole list of local, national, global events of shared concern. And each of us has our own list of personal trials, amplified by experiencing them in COVID time. I recently answered a check-in question at a meeting with the usual, "I'm fine." And then I added, "Fine. Fine. I'm fine." And people chuckled, as I had hoped they would. And then someone added, "It sounds like you're trying to convince yourself." That made me laugh louder, the laughter of, yes, self-recognition. I am fine, really, and I am presently in one of those ebb times in energy, attitude, optimism. I recognize it. I know that I'm in one of those ebb times because I feel overwhelmed and inadequate to almost everything. And that's what tells me I am fine in the big sense, but in the immediate sense. Now, so way back at the very beginning of the pandemic, it might have been the second service after we shut down, I remember I said something about how I had always kind of wanted to live in historic times. Yeah, I said it, and I did say that. And I even told our kids that their own children might one day ask them, what was it like way back in that pandemic? And I was trying to be a little lighthearted with them, with all of us, about this. And yet, I now realize times become historic not because everything was so hunky-dory. Times usually become historic because there is some kind of hardship. Maybe just one or two, and we have now had a string of them. And yet, eventually, we get to look back upon them with glasses that often become rosier with time. But we are no longer in the smack middle of the beginning or even the middle of COVID time. We are coming out on the other side, I promise you. And yet, the issues that have been shown to us in stark relief, perhaps starker because of the pandemic, those issues will still be with us. So, how are you? With all of that, how are you? How are we? However you answer that question today, on this day, and it's okay not to be fine. It is okay not to be okay at any moment. It's okay to be okay, okay? All of that. However it is for you this day, I want to offer some hope and encouragement for the times ahead when the troubles of the world are still too much with you. Times when those troubles feel massive and you feel very small. A growing beacon of hope, a light from a lighthouse shining upon me, is from the poet and activist Adrienne Marie Brown, who wrote a book just 5 years ago called Emergent Strategies Shaping Change, Changing Worlds. Brown defines emergence as, you've heard this already, we'll hear it again. Emergence is the way complex systems and patterns arise out of a multiplicity of relatively simple interactions. And she tells us that what we practice on a small scale can reverberate to the largest scale. We can start small and emerge. And as we each emerge, we change each other and we are changed. We change the world. Brown tells us that small emergent actions, individual and collective, can help us shape the change we want to make. Last week, I spoke about Octavia Butler's Parables books and the religious scripture, Earthseed, that she created for them. And yes, you will hear echoes of Butler's work in Brown's, because Adrienne Marie Brown actually has the first verse of Earthseed tattooed on her left arm. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. It seemed to me that early in the pandemic, the things I had the hardest time with were the things, events, practices that I had thought I had actually some control over. And and then it turned out, oh, I have control over almost nothing. And some things I could let go, but other things, the ones I really wanted to control, were the ones where I got frustrated. And I watched as each one of us, as each of you struggled with your own version of loss of control. I was fine with something that drove somebody else crazy, but then went off when my particular thing hit me right there. Brown tells us that it is our desire, a very human desire, to control emergence and change that has actually led to much, perhaps most, of all of the problems that we face. She wrote pre-pandemic, "With our human gift of reasoning, we have tried to control or overcome the emergent processes that are our own nature, the processes of the planet we live on, and the universe we call home. The result is crisis at each scale we are aware of, from our deepest inner moral sensibilities to the collective scale of climate and planetary health and beyond. The crisis is everywhere. Massive, 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 and we are small. But emergence notices the way small actions and connections create complex systems, patterns that become ecosystems and societies. Emergence is in our inheritance as a part of this universe. It is how we change. And emergent strategy is how we intentionally change in ways that grow our capacity to embody the just and liberated worlds we long for." Close quote. Everything is connected. As Fidelity was reading that story, I was reminded of the Hindu myth of Indra's net. Indra is part of the Hindu pantheon of gods who weaves a web holding everything together. And at every crossing of every strand in the web, there is a jewel. And in every one of those jewels is faceted in a way that it reflects all the others. And if you pull on Indra's net in one place, the ripples, the echoes, the energy is felt throughout all of everything. We are connected to everything. Hedgehogs and blowfish and the stars. And yet that seems massive, 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 huge. What can I do? Even as I'm connected to everything that is amiss also in the world. And I think of Ukraine, which is so far away and so awful and so hard. How do I affect change there? And what Brown tells us is through small, emergent actions that are connected to everything. This may be, in fact, our time's call, our time's way of saying we should think globally and act locally. Act so locally that sometimes it is within your very human heart that the emergent action arises. Each of us is already doing things that are what Brown calls these small emergent actions, including, yes, just taking up a spiritual practice, as I have been recommending to you all more firmly lately. A spiritual practice can be a small emergent action. I have told you the story, before of how on a silent retreat once, it became utterly, absolutely clear to me that I could save the world just by sitting on that meditation cushion. Later, I really had that big, expansive feeling. And then later I thought, oh, who am I kidding? That grand pronouncement seemed very silly later on. But I hear dear Adrian telling me that it was actually true. I was right in that moment. And since I've been talking about this more, spiritual practice more, many folks have been sharing with me their daily practice. And I'm always delighted to hear them. And yet I wonder how it might change your sense, your depth of practice, or your connection to it, if you think of it as a small emergent action that is connected to others, and that as other people are practicing, we grow a multiplicity of simple interactions that grow into patterns together and become a complex system that heals some part of your broken soul, this broken world. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. It can be just a part. What if you thought of your covenant group, if you belong to one in the congregation, or your women's or men's group, or movie night, or open mic night, or board meetings? Where are the board members? Or board meetings as small emergent actions that are connected to everything, that ripple out, connect us to one another and to all that is. Our children are outside right now creating emergence by cooperating to build robots. That is a small emergent action. Everyone who was able to and came to Joe Hutchins' memorial yesterday, just showing up, was another emergence. I talked to more than one person who said, I didn't really know Joe all that well. I knew that I liked him and I resonated with him, but I never really took the chance to get to know him, or I never had the chance. And they came, and there was a web woven that yesterday here that will have ripples and repercussions beyond all of us, as Fidelity felt in herself. Now, there are things that probably aren't emergent actions. I'm not certain that grocery shopping, going grocery shopping, is actually an emergent action in and of itself. Though a friendly, affirming interaction with a checkout clerk sure can be. Or what about you're just driving to the grocery store and you decide not to be in a hurry? Or you decide, hey, I can wait and let somebody go ahead of me. Or even, this one occurred to me recently, when somebody kind of pulled out in front of me and I wasn't really happy. And I found myself, because they'd pulled out so suddenly, I found myself right on this car's tail. And I thought to myself, I'm going to stay here. And then I thought, no, just back off. It's okay. It's okay. Kind, thoughtful, peaceful actions make a difference in the world. And yet, this is not how we are taught to be often. As Brown writes, we are socialized to see what is wrong, missing, off kilter. We are socialized to tear down the ideas of others and lift up our own. To a certain degree, our entire future, she goes on, our entire future may depend on learning to listen. Listen without assumptions or defenses. Yeah, to slow down, to back off, to not jump to anger, to just simply be kind and thank somebody even when we're in a hurry. And such individual emergent actions are important. Though Brown sees greater hope in small groups, perhaps the kind of small groups of thoughtful, committed individuals that Margaret Mead said are really the only thing that has ever changed the world. Small groups like our covenant groups, small groups like this group, small groups like all y'all out there in Zoom land and YouTube land. My colleague, the Reverend Dr. Marlon Lavahar, says, at our best, UU congregations are or can be small-scale communities working to create and demonstrate the kind of change, healing, justice, and liberation that Brown is calling for in her book, Emergent Strategies. In so many ways, it appears that Brown's emergent strategy and UU congregational life are a perfect fit. And yet, we have work, clearly, still to get there. We need to learn better, to listen, to affirm, to uplift, to heal ourselves and each other, rather than critiquing and looking for what is wrong or missing. There are a multiplicity of emergent actions that you already take. And part of the work may be simply to shift and see them as such. And yet there is always more that you can do. I offer one more that utterly delights me. Become a citizen scientist. There are all sorts of scientific experiments and surveys that are going on, and scientists who are seeking help from the populace in the United States and all over the world. Here's one. NASA has a mountain rain or snow project that needs real-time observations because, quote, it's notoriously difficult to research winter precipitation in the mountains because it's rain or snow or mixed, and it can vary over the course of minutes and across short distances. Human observers are our best resource for discovering how rain and snow vary in time and space. Now, I know we're here, not in the mountains, but Dorothy Fast Horse, if you're out there, I'm talking to you because I know you're up in the mountains. And we travel to the mountains all the time. I have no idea. There's actually a website called, that's a government website. There's a whole bunch of them, but a government website about being a citizen scientist. And you too can be part of NASA's work. And then there's the Beachcombers, or Coastal Ocean Mammal and Bird Education Survey, that is managed by the Ventura and the United States offices of the Departments of Fish and Wildlife. And they are seeking citizen scientists to tag wildlife that is washed up on beaches from San Diego to Santa Cruz. You could sign up for that one. Or I love this one too. This is a real simple one. The Best Practices Guide for Library Air Sensor Loan Programs. Now, this is a study that just needs people to do data entry, but the goal is to increase the number of air sensors available to communities, particularly in areas that might not otherwise have access to such tools, to build air pollution awareness and awareness around how to manage individual exposure to improve one's health and well-being. They just need some data entry. What a lovely, you may have just a time at home, and this is a small emergent action you could take. You could be part of, and National Geographic runs these, and all kinds of people are seeking citizen scientists. So go forth and be one. We do get to start small and emerge. And what we do can actually make a difference. We can change ourselves, change the world. As Brown tells us, our generation must walk the spiritual path that is available to us only in this time, in this wonderfully, awfully historic time, with its own unique combination of wisdom and creation. We are in a time like no other, and that connects us to the things that are not going well in the world, but it also connects us to the possibilities for change. These are historic times and there will be books written about us in 50 and 100 years. What will they write? We don't yet know. We can't know how anything we do now will affect what they write decades later. All we can do is to start small, to start together and see what emerges. Amen. May it be so. Please join me in a time of prayer. Holy beingness of many names and no name, emergence, the way, the Tao, the force, change, life. Spirit of life and love, which dwells within and among and beyond us this day and always. May we have faith in ourselves and in each other, and all the ways that we may yet emerge. May we be kind. May we be joyful in spite of it all, in the face of all that is heavy, in the face of what feels massive, messy, chaotic, heavy. May we feel the connection that we have to all that is. May we know that what we do makes a difference, changes the world, ripples and affects everything in the web. And may we move with consciousness and kindness, awareness and love through it all. And may all those who are ill find healing. May those who are in despair find hope. May those who are without shelter find home. And may all those suffering in conflict and war throughout the world, and this day, all those in the conflict, in the war, the invasion of Ukraine, may we all find peace. Amen. And blessed be.
Please rise in body or spirit and join me in our closing hymn, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence from sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Please join me in reading the words on the screen as we prepare to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. Those we carry into our lives until we are together again.
If you'll remain standing here in the sanctuary, and I invite all of you out in Zoom land into breakout rooms. And if you do have a cash or checks for Ventura Homeless Prevention, please put them in the basket at the back of the sanctuary here. And then those who are here can go outside, grab some coffee, go outside, watch some robot races, and then grab some coffee. But starting small and emerging, weaving webs everywhere we go. I leave you with the words of the Reverend Wayne Arneson. Some of my favorite, and they have been apt. They're so apt still today, especially now in our times. He charges us. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. You are so not alone that you are connected to everything that is. So go forth in love, go forth in peace, go forth and emerge. May it be so.